that was just awesome seeing that. Though. Oh crap! Sorry, did you go live? When?
Okay.
There you go.
It's going. Come on. Here we go. It's taking forever. There we go.
Live.
It's exciting, isn't it? Are you scared? You know what to do? Have you ever been live before?
No, it's my first time.
Oh man.
Honest.
Well, you're in for a treat.
I got to remember that one.
All right. Let's do the intro and then we will be right back. Let's get it on here. Oops, that's the wrong intro. Always count on me to screw everything up here. That's great.
That goes to show you about the brains of the operation.
Yeah, he has not. Now it just disappeared. Where did it go? There it is.
It's time for Red Salad Review with your hosts, Wayne Moon, Greg Narlow, and Lou Bass.
All right, welcome to Rat Salad Review. Today we have a special guest, a guest that we've been waiting to have on this show for a very long time, Mr. Albert Bouchard. Hello, Mr. Albert Bouchard.
Hello. Pleased to be here.
Are you sure about that?
I think so. Pretty sure.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on the show, Greg. We're all huge fans of you, but Greg, he's like the ultimate fan. You know, he's got the Blue Oyster Cult shirt on. I mean, look at him.
Yeah. I see. It's official.
Literally quoted as saying that they are your favorite band, correct, Greg?
Yep, love them. Especially those early years when Albert was in the band. Just such an amazing group of musicians together, and then with Sandy on top of it guiding everything. The vocal harmonies, the in the pocket playing, it's just something super special.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, we definitely had a chemistry. It's. I mean, you see that with a lot of bands, though. Who was I talking to? Somebody was talking about when the Young Rascals got back together, and how each one of them had a version of the Rascals that would go out and play, and it never sounded. And then the four of them got together, and they're not getting any younger. They're older than I am, so Gene Cornish is not well, and Eddie and the drummer, I can't remember his name now, but he passed away just last year. So,
oh really?
So, but when they got together, it sounded just like they always sounded. Just like in 2012, we got together, the five of us, the original five from Blue Oyster Cult, and we played a show in Times Square. One show was like the 45th anniversary or something, and they played with the new guys, and then we came out and played the original five, and it sounded just like we hadn't taken a day off. It was amazing. It just sounded exactly like it used to sound. And
did you do a lot of preparing?
The other guys came in and what's that?
Did you do a lot of preparing to do that show? Like, I mean, how much did you have to really go back and learn a lot of the songs? Or
yeah, I did. They gave me a list of songs to learn, and I worked on them a little bit by myself. And then the day before the show, well, no, it was a week before the show. Yeah, it was a week before the show. Oh no, it was the day. It was the day of the show. That's right, because
really
they had to postpone it. It was because of the hurricane.
Oh,
right. This was right around Sandy, right?
Yeah, and I had already, they wanted me to come to sound check, and we were gonna, have a long, 3-hour sound check, and before the show, and so I had a gig that night, but it was an early gig, so I was gonna go do their sound check, then go to this other gig, playing with Steve Marshall at the Iridium, and then on the break from his set, I was going to go back across the street to BOC and play with them, and then come back and play with Steve Marshall. So, the set, he wanted me to do 2 sets. So anyway, but then the hurricane came and everything was canceled. So and they rescheduled it for a week later, and the thing was that Joe was on a cruise. So he couldn't make it. He was on the Leonard Skinner cruise with the Cult brothers.
Oh wow!
So he couldn't have done it. But then when because they switched it a week later, he could do it. So so it was all the original, the original 5 of us, and somehow I knew it would be the last. Alan was not. He was not well. So, and he'd gone through a lot. He'd had cancer, and then he was having a heart issue, and he had COPD. So everything that he liked to do. He couldn't smoke. He couldn't drink. But that night, he smoked and he drank.
Yeah, that footage exists on YouTube, and I got to admit, it was so bittersweet. The fact that it was the last time the 5 of you guys played together. I think Alan Lanier has to go down as one of the best multifaceted sidemen to ever grace the stage. I mean, just some of those piano parts that he created. I mean, everyone in the band is multifaceted and multi-talented, but just like when you hear that intro to a song like Joan Crawford, or when him and Buck during ME 262 would start playing, and then you'd come in there and it'd be like this ridiculous wall of sound, this orchestral guitar solo. I mean, so many great memories that you can watch on the internet, and just I don't know. I've always had the greatest respect for Alan, because myself, I play, keyboards and bass and guitar as well. So, I'd be lying if I said if he wasn't an inspiration.
The great thing about Alan was he Blue Oyster Cult was the first band he was ever in. He never played in any band before. And so he played different from all of the rest of us. So the rest of us, we were used to, learning every Beach Boys song and every, Muddy Waters song and every, Beatles song and, every song, every jazz standard that everybody, that's what Joe and I did. We were in a band we played about 400 shows, before I dropped out of college and decided to come to the city and start this thing, So we'd played a lot, but Don played in a surf band in high school, and and Eric was in a bunch of bands. He had a high school band, then he had several bands at college. So all the 4 of us were very used to figuring out what you're supposed to do and stay right in your lane, And Alan just didn't know how to do that at all, and it was wonderful. He never played the right chords. He just played, for instance, the intro to Astronomy, that whole thing is in the key of D.
Right.
And then all of a sudden goes right into E, and it's like, whoa, so dramatic. He was just fooling around saying, hey, I was thinking about an intro for this. And I'm like, whoa. That never in a million years could I think of that. It was like, yeah, amazing. So yeah, but the entire Astronomy, he's playing all these different chords, that are not the chords that are being played, but they fit for some reason. It fits with the melody, or it fits some kind of way. It was, he was amazing. He could you could count on him to do something different, that you wouldn't expect.
Yeah. So. Now Greg is going to kill me, but I always know of Blue Oyster Cult, obviously the Don't Fear the Reaper and all that. And then Metallica did the covers album, and they did Astronomy, a cover of Astronomy. Do you like that cover?
I love that cover.
You do?
I think it's amazing. My only disappointment is that it's too respectful.
Really?
I
Okay.
really wanted to hear them really heavy it up, and they didn't do that. And so then because they didn't do a full Metallica treatment on it. They never
Right.
They didn't play it live, and I thought,
Right.
if they'd done like they did Whiskey in a Jar or Turn the Page, and really metallicize it,
Yeah.
but it's okay. I got paid the same money.
Yeah, right. But
5 figures for several years just from that one song.
can't go wrong. But I heard that, I'm like, oh, like whose song is this? Because I didn't know it was a Blue Oyster Cult song. And then when I found out, I'm like, oh my god, I gotta go find out more Blue Oyster Cult, because that song was awesome. And then when I heard the original version, and like you said, with all the keyboards and stuff that he did in there, and how different it is from the other part of the song, that's just an awesome song, and I love it. And thanks to Metallica, I finally got into more Blue Oyster Cult.
Yeah. Well, I got to know them when they put out the Ride the Lightning record, and at the time I was not in the band. I was just trying to make a little money here and there, so I got a gig writing for Modern Drummer magazine.
Oh, all right.
I'd been teaching at a place called the Drummers Collective, because I just needed, I would get some gigs, I get some oldies gigs, being the musical director, for Spencer Davis and things like that. But it wasn't enough money to live on, so I needed something more steady. So I got this job at Drummers Collective, and then from there I got to know Rick Mattingly, the editor of Modern Drummer, and so I did a bunch of stuff with them. Yeah, it was really funny because I did this. We can skip ahead for a second. I love to. I'm a good digressor, so
That's fine.
or progressor. But fast forward to that was back in when did that come out? Like in Ride the Lightning was
84.
84. Yeah. So around that time period, Modern Drummer had a festival. They had this festival, the Modern Drummer Festival, for 10 years, and it would be all the most popular drummers in the area, But I mean, like Joe Morello or Will Calhoun or all these people that were Steve Jordan, Carter Buford, all these people would be there, and so one day. I can't remember who told me, but he said Joe Franco and who's the guy with the Dixie Dregs?
Rod Morgenstein?
Rod Morgenstein need a ride to New Jersey to this thing. So I gave him a ride, the three of us, and it was great. It was really fun. And Rod Morgenstein was such a, he was introducing me to everybody, because I'm a little shy, and they didn't really know who I was, and everybody
struck me as a social butterfly.
Well, once I get going, it's okay. But
I meant Rod never struck me as a social butterfly. I always just thought he was a guy who just stood behind his drums.
Oh no, he really is. So last February, just a month ago, we had a tribute show, a memorial for Scott Kempner. Because, I've been playing in the Dictators, and the reason why I'm playing with the Dictators is because of Scott. Because Scott called me up from California and said, hey, man, Ross and Andy want to get the Dictators back together, and we want you to be the drummer. And I'm like, oh, cool. So, I started talking, and we talked about bed, and then Ross called me and said, yeah, you got to do it, Al. So I said, I'm playing guitar mostly. He goes, no, you got to play drums, man. So I said, okay. This was in 2019.
Yeah. And we actually had the roast the boss. I forgot that he talked about that. You remember, Lou?
I remember that. And I remember the single that came out in New York City. I think it was a song, and that was a good one. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
There is one song I would love to hear you guys do, especially with you on drums. Granted, it's not a Dictators original, but love Mata Hoople and the Dictators proto punk feel, and they covered The Moon Upstairs on the
Yeah.
live album in '81.
Yeah.
And I would love to hear your approach to that tune.
Yeah. Well, just might. We recorded 2 shows so far, live shows.
Cool.
We did 12 shows in Spain, and this was right towards the end of it in Murcia. We did a live thing, multi-tracks. We have all of that, and then when we came back, we played a show at my father's place, and that was the weirdest thing because I went in there, and there's the sound guy is like, he's all crusty, he's older than me, and he's like just complaining about everybody and everything, and he's lugging these big speakers in. A little guy too, like me. I could just imagine myself doing this. And his wife is helping him, and she's old, and she's
Jeez.
and they set all the stuff up on the stage, and it looks like it's not going to work at all, and it's a supper club. So it's all tables, which, and like nice, flowers and
Yeah.
candles, romantic.
That's awesome.
It's a little weird.
My father's
I
place.
I said, oh my God, this is going to be horrible. This is going to be horrible. So our sound guy comes in, and he says, where's the console? And the guy gives him iPad.
Oh, jeez.
So he has to mix it on iPad. And I said, oh my God. And they're recording this. And it turned out that it was really simple. The other guy came with his gear, hooked it up to the little distribution center or whatever it was, and so we got 2 live records. And I think that my father's place one, that was a great show. We had Mark the Animal Mendoza come and just sit in with us. Yeah, what a player, man. Yeah, so it was great. It was a great show. We did Moon Upstairs too, both of those shows.
That's awesome.
So we have I haven't heard it, but I didn't like the way they did it on the record, to be honest. I thought it was just the drummer, whoever it was, I don't want to, never disparage another drummer, but I felt like this person wasn't up to what it needed to be.
I agree. And you have a very Gene Krupa approach.
Yeah. Gene Krupa, crossed with Keith Moon.
Yep. And
That's a frightening thought.
I always thought that would be, interesting to hear kind of Buffin's original lines applied that way. So
yeah.
excited to hear that. Because no, they didn't do the best job of it.
No, they just love the song and they wanted to do it, and we started doing it. And Keith Roth loves the song too, so he wanted to sing it, and so we started doing it. And I'm like, we played it first. I think we did a tour of Canada, and we played it up there, and I was just like, this. I'm just they wanted me to play it like whoever the drummer was that played it, with him before. And I'm like, this is not, I'm not feeling this guy. So we came back, and we redid the arrangement for the drum wise. So, I think we might have changed the tempo a little bit. We took some bars out because it seemed like it was a little too repetitious, and just made it a little more. Yeah.
Yeah, that is one thing about the Island years. As much as I love them, though, Guy would let them go on and on live in the studio, and they're great songs, they're great performances, but some of them can get to be a little too much when they start reaching the 8-9 minute mark.
Yeah, well, it was still long, but there was but the way that song had a lot of like pauses in it. Yeah, and I felt like it was too much, too many pauses. Especially going over and over for a long period of time. So, and Ross had a dynamite lead that he was playing in it, so he played basically the same thing he's been playing in that. So. Yeah, it's about the same length, but I took out some of the, the pauses made it
Gotcha.
more flow better.
So
Flow better.
So we're happy to say that the third volume in the Reimaginos Saga is out and available. If you want to support Albert directly and not have him rely on lack of Spotify listens, go to his Bandcamp, albertbouchard.bandcamp.com. Support this man directly. Okay, so I just wanted to get that out of the way.
Oh, do I have a Bandcamp?
Yes,
Oh,
because I
okay.
follow you on it.
Oh my God. Okay, that's cool.
But congratulations on the release of the third volume.
Thank you.
I, as an old school BOC fan, and just to give you a brief history, first album, I had two older brothers, and my eldest brother, Tony, had the cassette of Some Enchanted Evening, and that's what made me a fan, because that's when I first heard Godzilla. And after that, as a young impressionable lad, I was hooked instantly. But that's the only album that I knew of up until middle school, when my my seventh grade social studies teacher lent me On Your Feet or On Your Knees, and I said, "Whoa, this album is better than Some Enchanted Evening," and just instantly hooked and been a fan ever since. One question, and trust me, we'll be asking you questions throughout the evening, but one question that I wanted to ask you regarding Reimaginos. So this is the third volume. There was the original attempt back in the late 80s, which was supposed to be a solo album for you, but the record label, Columbia, ended up deciding that they wanted to make it a BOC album. And of course, the old adage, too many cooks in the kitchen spoil the pot. I love what you've done with the Imaginos story with these three albums, and I really appreciate the effort that you've made to literally not just reimagine but revise these songs to have like a whole completely new life. The first question I wanted to ask you regarding it was, what was it like for you to go, I guess, back into your history to not just properly tell the story of Imaginos with these albums, but to do them in the fashion that you did for these three records?
Well, I guess what happened was Sandy had an accident, fell down, hit his head, and was in a coma. He was in a coma for about a month, and he was being taken care of by Robert and Ronnie Duncan. And so I told Robert Duncan, if he comes out of it, let me know, because I will fly to San Francisco and I want to see him. I have stuff I have to say, just in case, if he's awake, I have to say it to him. So he said, okay. So about a month later, at the very end of January, he called me and said, hey, Sandy came out of it. I said, oh, what did he say? And he says, he can't talk. I said, oh, but he seems to know what you're saying, and he reacts to what you say. So, and he can move some fingers on his left hand, I think it was, and his left toe. So I went there and I spent a couple days with him in the hospital. I said everything I had to say, and because when we were making Imaginos, and I don't mean any disrespect to Sandy, but the thing about the Too Many Cooks, it was really, I think there was one too few by the end. There was one too few, and that was me, who wasn't there. They just, Sandy felt like I was too pushy, and he thought that he could do better without my input. So, but I was very disappointed with the record. I kind of hated it, actually. I thought that, when I did go back to redo it, I was able to hear a bunch of good things that happened that I wasn't a part of. But at the time, I just thought it was terrible. And I still feel like he went off into this whole orchestral thing, I mean, he's had this whole thing about, that Wagner was the inventor of heavy metal. Yeah. So
Some say it was Holston, Mars, bringer of war, but we digress.
Yeah. And I sing Wagner in my choral group, and it doesn't sound like heavy metal to me at all. But anyway, and I had actually sued him, and I know he was very hurt about it. And we, even though we had reconciled over the years after that, especially we started losing people. We lost Helen Wheels, and then we lost David Roeder, and right around the time Sandy lost his wife Joan. And so we started talking, mostly, reminiscing about our friends that we lost. And so, but I hadn't really apologized for suing him, number one. And number two, telling him, how important he was to me and how I felt about him. Bottom line, especially when you think that you might not see the guy again, which I didn't.
Right.
So, so anyway, one of the things that happened was I said, Sandy, I need you to get better, because I'm going to redo Imaginos the way that you wanted, because he wanted to do certain things and I refused because I thought it wouldn't sell. So
now, was the 3-album concept originally your idea or his? Because
it's his. It was
his. Okay.
Oh yeah, totally. So then he died, and I felt like, well, I guess I don't have to do it now. I'm out of that, because he didn't I said, if you get better, I need you to do this, and he didn't. So I thought, oh, he's letting me off the hook here. And then, some time passed, and well, really not a whole lot of time. About a year later, I got I'd been working, I guess, since about 2013, 2014 with this guy, Don Falcone from San Francisco, who I've only met last May. First time we've ever met, so in 10 years. So, but he has this sort of a collective where he gets people from all over the world to play on his stuff, but mostly like prog rock guys. Like, he's got the guys from Can and Hawkwind, and I don't know, Camper Van Beethoven, and Dinosaur Jr. and all these, these kind of different, people. Arthur Brown from the Crazy World of Arthur Brown. So he has all these people performing. So he asked me, he was going to do a trilogy with Michael Moorcock, for
the Elric saga, I guess.
Nope. Dancers at the End of Time.
Okay.
So this is the story of Jarek and his father Jagged, and Amelia. Oh, I can't remember her last name now. Amelia Underwood. So those are the protagonists, and this is at the end of time, when people don't die and you don't have to, you don't have to work, people, the biggest problem is boredom. So I started working on it, and I really got into it. The first volume, I think, had I think 14 songs, and I sang 9 of them. and wrote and sang 9, and then the others I either played drums, or I wrote some lyrics, or I made some arrangement ideas. So I got totally involved, and then the next one came along, and I was like still gung ho, the first one didn't sell at all. It hardly got any attention because he was on this label called Gonzo, British label, and they did nothing. They actually went under.
Really?
Before the second one was done. So
That's your first mistake. Never name your label after a genre of porn.
oh, why not?
I mean,
Well, because it goes belly up like it did.
hey, it worked for 7 Screaming Disbusters, one of the best songs of all time.
You should imagine my reaction when I found out what a Disbuster was.
Oh, yeah.
Look it up, people, if you want to know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, anyway, so by
Sorry, I threw him off.
the time I did finish the second one, I was like, I really should do this with Imaginos. I'll get all these people to play on it. And then of course I started doing it. I had my bass player, and I had a drummer and a female keyboard player and singer. So there was just the 4 of us. We started, and then COVID hit. So we only recorded 1 song together, and I did it in my house, in my studio. So, and the drums weren't good, so I had to replace the drums myself. So I ended up doing almost all of Reimaginos by myself, except for I'd done some of the bass parts. And then when I think it was in the summer of 2020, when people could go and see each other again, it wasn't lockdown. David came over, David Hirschberg, and redid all the bass parts that I did. So, and then I got RJ Ronquillo from Nashville to play guitar, who I'd seen him on YouTube. He's
really?
one of these like phenomenal YouTube guitar guys, and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, he's in all the ads for Culture Lab products. That's how I first heard of him.
Yeah, that's what he does. That's his gig, is he does demos of products and reviews and stuff.
I use Culture Labs because of him. Thanks, RJ.
Yeah. So he plays on all the records. I mean, Richie Castellano is a big fan of his too. So, he's kind of a geek. I still haven't met him. I was in Nashville.
Oh, really?
And he said, "Oh yeah, come over." I was. This is 2022. I had this Airstream trailer that I bought, and I just finished paying it off. I just took the title, and it was sitting there doing nothing. I said, you know what? Don't have anything that important. I'm just gonna take this thing and drive across the country and so see all my friends, all these people that I hadn't. I saw somebody that I saw earlier that year, Jay Johnson in Muscle Shoals, but, who I haven't met. Joe knew him from a long time ago because he was a guitar player in a group called Dead Ringer that Joe played in. But, he's the son of Jay Johnson, the Swamper at Muscle Shoals, the guitar player that played with on, all those Aretha Franklin and, all of that stuff. Played with the Stones. He played with everybody basically. But anyway, that was his dad. So the son is a really good guitar player too. But anyway, so we got to see him. But then I went to see Ricky Ryer, who was a BOC roadie. I hadn't seen him in about, 10 years. And then I saw Jack Rigg, who I hadn't seen in about 7 or 8 years. And he had played on Imaginos too. on the Reimaginos. He found out I was doing it. He said, Albert, I got, send me a track. I'll put a guitar on it. So he did. He sent me a track, and I used this guitar. And then of course Ross the boss, is like, you gotta let me, you gotta let me do my thing. I said, okay, man. So he did. He came and he did his thing. It was great. So I had like 4 guitar players, 4 ringers come in and do a nice job. And Vaughn Burton also, who was a fan, and he had asked me to do. He asked my permission to record "Girl That Love Made Blind."
Oh.
So I said, "Well, it's funny. I'm working on that song right now, and I need a guitar." He's like, "What?"
Nice.
He's a good kid. He's from New Jersey. So anyway,
That's cool.
Yeah, so I had these guitar players and David Hirschberg and really, and other than my Justin Robinson ended up not being on the record at all. He actually retired from music because he got a job as programming robots.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, computer science degree. So, and the girl keyboard player, she went back to her job, and she was really shy. So I don't know that it would have worked out because she just wasn't. She's a good player and everything, and nice voice, but yeah, she wasn't. I could tell she was a little uncomfortable, and I had to show her everything to do. And I thought, I should probably just play the keyboards and get somebody else, And so my first foray into live gigs, my brother Joe played the keyboards. And then this last run, I had my friend Susie Lorraine play the keyboard. So, but I don't know if I really even need keyboards when you play live, So that's why I'm doing this tour. I don't know if you heard about that.
No.
I'm playing a tour in UK, and I'm doing a couple gigs in the United States over the summer just to get warmed up to do it. But it's just me and a guitar.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
Yeah,
I read about that on your social media recently.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Then,
electric guitar, not a folk thing.
all right. Cool. Because somebody gave you that idea,
Yeah,
didn't they?
so
Like
we'll
somebody
see
in
how
the
it goes.
audience give you that idea to do that.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah.
2 nights in a row, in Leesburg, at the Tally Ho. So it'd be great if you got up and just because it's we want to see you. And then the next night at Daryl's house, this guy, I'll tell you what you should do, and I would pay all the money just to have you by yourself sitting on a stool telling stories, and then every once in a while you play a song. I'm like, yeah, that would be good. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. Take questions,
That's crazy.
take
awesome.
requests. So we're gonna see how it goes.
Oh, I already know what
Yeah.
my request would be. Fireworks.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to. I better prepare for. I'll put the lyrics in the iPad. This is the first thing, and then I'll go over it a couple times, figure out how to do it. Yeah.
I was always amazed. A lot of your songs like that.
The problem with a band to teach everybody.
I think the connection got really bad.
Yeah. Well, could you repeat that last part,
What was
Albert?
that?
Your
froze
connection's
up.
your connection gets a little. I don't know if it's enough. You're back now.
My
Are you
connection.
back?
Oh, because he said. Yeah, he said something about fireworks, and then I that's the thing about BOC.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Yeah. So
Wow,
what did you say?
see? A perfect
Oh.
repeat of what happened. That was awesome.
Yeah. Great rehash.
I
Anyway,
almost thought he was stuck
so
again.
what I was saying was, especially yours and Joe's, the more melodic ones off of like Spectres and Mirrors, I was always amazed weren't picked as singles from it. I mean, Fireworks is insanely catchy, and You're Not the One I Was Looking For is brilliant. The lyrics, everything to it, and then Moon Crazy, Death Valley
Yeah.
Nights. I mean, I love Godzilla,
Thanks.
but Death Valley Nights, and screw it. I'll start from the beginning real quick.
If Donald had waited for Patty to come back, it would have been a whole different thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Patti Smith's idea.
Really?
Godzilla.
Wow.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
Right, because she
for
had a
real.
poem where she
Yeah.
had Zilla God in one of the stanzas, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah, I read that.
Yeah,
I was
that's
like,
correct.
wow.
Yeah,
I never would have thought Patti Smith was that cool that she would quote Godzilla in a poem.
oh my God, no, Patty is the coolest. She is. I mean, she's a little. In private, she's a lot funnier. She gets kind of serious on the stage. So,
I'm sure.
but in private, she's very funny and witty and cool. Very cool.
Very cool.
So,
I've been listening to the Imaginos. I listened to all three of them the last few days, and the sound that you got on those albums is just amazing. Like, I hear a lot of new albums. Like, just recently, I heard the new Bruce Dickinson album, and it sounds like garbage. I don't know what happened to that mix, but your album, everything is so clear. The drums they just sound awesome. What kind of room did you record it in? You have your own recording studio?
I recorded it. Well, the first album I recorded in my party, and now, of course, this last one I did most of it in this house, which is it's basically a mansion that I'm renting
Okay.
in Queens, and
All right.
I only have the bottom two floors. The top floor is another family who makes more noise than I do.
I was gonna say they must
So,
love
yeah.
you, but
Yeah, no, I never complain. The only complaint, I'm like, guys, if you're going to have a big party and you're going to be dancing to Latin music, please invite me. Come on. I have FOMO. So she said, okay, next time, I promise. So
but I was just like so blown away by all like
Anyway.
how great the albums sound.
yeah. Thanks. Well, I thing or two, doing a while, I think that the brain surgeons, I did everything, and it never sounded the way it sounded in my head. Whereas with these Imaginos records, well, except for the first one. After the first one, I decided not to. I was losing my hearing, actually, and I could.
Really?
I realized it. I couldn't hear high end. Yeah.
Mm.
So I mean, I still have it. I have your hearing aids now. So
Wow.
because I it's still hard for me to hear. So if I put it on, how the hearing aids is now.
Oh, it's him with the bad connection, right? Not us.
Connectivity.
Yeah, I don't know.
Clarity.
You got
There we
terrible
go.
internet. There we go.
Oh, that's better.
Darn you, Time Warner Cable of Queens.
Yeah, so I have two.
Spectrum, whatever you're called now.
Yeah, so I got Spectrum. That's right. Time Warner. Ooh, my God. I stopped watching TV because of them. It was probably a good thing.
I'd say so.
Oh, is he frozen again, or is he pretending he's frozen?
I hope he's pretending, but I doubt it.
Darn.
He'll come back.
Oh, you guys are frozen.
No, it's you. It's your fault. Keep doing that. It doesn't seem to go out, so keep doing that.
Yes.
That might be.
Hey, look,
know,
we're doing. We're doing it
I
live.
know
Okay?
it's me because all three of you go like
Yeah.
just still. I'm like, oh no, it happened again. That means I'm still.
Yeah.
Next time that happens, I can take off all my.
It just happened.
You know what though? I don't mind so much. It's such an honor to talk to you. I mean, Lou was talking about how he got into DOC with the cassette tape. For me, I was about 8. Parents got me a turntable. My dad's like, "Oh yeah, you can have the rest of my albums." And it was this record right here, looking at the cover and then putting it on with Satan's Hog, No Pig at All, and the weather's getting dry. I was like, "What is this?" And then just as it went on,
Yeah,
that cobwebby production sound, just how, yeah, I want to say insightful, but maybe it's just how odd and Cthulhu mythos a lot of Sandy's lyrics were, but just mesmerizing stuff, man. And that's why I was so excited about the Reimaginos project, because reading about that, what you and Sandy had said in interviews over the years, and a little bit of Don too, although it didn't seem like either him or Eric were real into that whole project, but reading about it and then knowing some of the mythology from loving the first 3 records so much, and then actually getting that album, because it was out of print at the time, mid late 90s, it was really hard to find, and then listening to that, it's like, what in the hell happened here? So it was really,
yeah.
really
Well,
awesome.
it was yeah. Yeah, well, listen to this. The joke was on me though, because it didn't come out. Well, it did come out, but not as my album. They had to bail me out basically.
I guess an interesting question I'd like answered is, I mean, it's safe to say that the band and the concept, was kind of there from the beginning, with traces of the concept spread throughout every album. How come there was never an innate idea to kind of have the first 3 albums based solely on the concepts of Imaginos? Like, why was it, I guess, more important to just, I guess, spread the seeds of the story through every album? Was it sort of like, did you as musicians and as artists think, let the fans kind of put it together for themselves? Was it sort of like that?
No, no. Sandy had the story, but he didn't have the songs, and he was very he would work on these things for years. I got when I don't know if you heard that I got a suitcase when his cousin Michelle, who was his only heir, she inherited his house on Long Island, and so she had just sold it last year. And she called up the Stony Brook professor, Norm Preslin, and said, there's all these papers here. You want to come and get them? I mean, somebody might be, want to see them. And of course, there's about 1,000 pages of mostly lyrics, like 13 versions of Are You Ready to Rock? Or I think it was probably like 20 versions of Astronomy. So he spent a lot of time getting lyrics just the way he wanted them, and I think that so he didn't provide us with the whole an album's worth of Imaginos songs. He would just dole them out a little by little. So
Gotcha.
and
Thanks
and
for
there usually
clarifying
were so many words also that it was hard for us to figure out how to put all these words into a song where it wasn't like one of these drony songs. It just goes forever. So we really had to get into the words. So I think that, like that's why Subhuman, we did the Subhuman, it was only like a quarter of the lyrics or a third of the lyrics. Eric left all this other stuff out, you know. He's like, oh, it would have, yeah, because he was doing it real slow, you know. And so when I redid it for Imaginos, I put every word. And it's a lot of words.
I really like how you did part of it instrumentally as overture with brain surgeons too. That was a really cool Easter egg on Box of Hammers.
Yeah, you know, I was just thinking about that because it's if you were to get the vinyl, it's on the vinyl. It's at the end of the vinyl. The last song after Les Invisibles is the overture. And so when I did the second Bombs Over Germany, I wanted to have I wanted to have a second overture at the beginning, and I started working on When the War Comes, which I changed to When War Comes, because I changed everything. Because when I first heard that, what was that on?
Club Ninja.
Club Ninja, yeah.
Cultisaurus.
Club Ninja from
Club Ninja, yeah. Club Ninja. Right. So on Club Ninja, I heard it and I was like, I was mad because he had taken half of the lyrics from Half-Lifetime and used it in this other song. And I'm like, but comes over Germany. So, So I took all the words from Half-Lifetime out of it, and then I filled it in with instrumental stuff that was, kind of sounded like an overture. Just a kind of overture. It was months, just germinating in my head. I have my notes and I'm writing down like, how can I do this? And, well, maybe if I put a little bit of Bex Bolero in there. That's too. So.
The connections. Killer.
Yeah, so that's how that came about.
That's
yeah.
cool.
Oh, you can't hear what I'm saying, huh?
And it keeps breaking in.
Here, let me.
Anyways, let's continue to plug his website, Albert Bouchard at bandcamp.com. Buy his stuff. Okay. Remember, when you buy from an artist Bandcamp, it goes directly to the artist. However, Albert didn't realize he had a Bandcamp, so I hope he's getting a cut of that.
Yeah. It's going to go to my record company. It's going to go to them. But, the thing is that, they must have done this. The thing is that they pay. I have made money, with the brain surgeons, not to bring up a sore subject, but, I lost money on every record. I never made money. It was like a money losing thing. And we'd tour and we would lose money. So this time, starting with this Imaginos stuff, I make money on every record. Me as much. That's a crazy thing. Retired from teaching for 30 years. So
repeat what you said again because it keeps cutting out.
I don't have to do anything. Oh.
Well, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, that cut off. So you said with the brain surgeons, it was losing money. And with Reimagined, as you said, the label is actually taking care of you.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's a good thing. That's a very good thing.
Yes. Great. Yeah.
Well,
they take a very small percentage. Yeah. It's an amazing deal that I got with them.
Very cool.
Yeah, very good. Very good. The band Blue Coup, how did that all become to be? Because you got Dennis Dinaway and then your brother as well, and it's very good. Out, how many albums you put out now? I think 4.
I think around the 4th, yeah.
Yeah, 4. Yeah, we put out 4 records. So, but this last one is kind of there's not really anything new on it. Everything that is on it is either a remix of an old song or the songs that did make it. We always record more songs than we put on the records. So these were the ones that we didn't, for one reason or another. Like, what's the thing? Mothra, the Mothra song. That was, we could have put it on, but they didn't want to pay the Toho the thing. And then what they're looking for stuff. I said, well, how this thing, the Tish and Snooki thing? It's amazing. And they said, oh, but it's going to be so much. So I looked it up. It was like $500. Come on.
Wow.
Just give them the $500 and put it on the record, which is what we did. So
Wow.
it was nothing.
You're on mute, Lou.
Thank you. I said, to provide context, Toho is the company that owns Godzilla and Mothra and the likenesses.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So, but they did. It was really not a lot. It was not. It was very reasonable. So
sounds just like a pricier mechanical license, if anything.
Yeah. It was slightly more, but not bad at all. And then there was the Robbie Krieger, he and
Killing me.
when we did first, the first version that we did sounded just like the Doors, and we're like, oh no, we can't do that.
Oh, Robbie Krieger.
But then, yeah. So, but then Robbie played on it, so we ended up doing it just like we were doing it, But Joe was singing it, he does it better Morrison than me, so I just sang like myself, so I wasn't trying to sound like Morrison. Anyway, so. And let's see what else. Well, Trick of Moonlight. Now that one was, I love that song. I wrote that with David Roeder.
Oh, cool.
And you guys,
Bro, you keep freezing.
We hear you though.
oh,
You know what? Try turn your camera off. Sometimes this helps. Sometimes.
What, turning
Okay.
the camera off and
Turn the
turning it
camera
back
up.
on?
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, is that better?
No. There we
Yeah.
go.
Can you hear
All right,
me?
now talk. Yeah.
We hear you fine, yeah.
No?
I think
There,
now.
fine.
Yeah.
All right, there you go.
Okay.
There we go. That works.
Maybe that'll work.
Yeah. Now we can hear you.
Should I turn it back on? I think having the extra data is
Yeah.
messing up my connection.
Yeah, I think so. But now it sounds okay. I don't even know, what did we leave off with?
Yeah.
So we're talking about Robbie Krieger and how it was sounding too
And
much
then
like the Doors.
I guess that didn't solve the problem.
Oh, son of a gun.
Dennis wrote Hollow's Grave. Is it still a problem?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear
Oh,
you.
okay.
Yeah, it's back.
So, Hollow's Grave, he wrote it for Alice Cooper, and then Alice Cooper ended up singing on it.
Yeah.
But we haven't done a whole lot with Blue Coup. Dennis has got these other gigs, he's working a lot with Alice now, so
Yeah.
so which is good. I'm happy about that. And I'm wall to wall stuff going on too with the Dictators and Shakin' Street, doing a new Shakin' Street record, so
Wow.
Now,
that's coming out really good.
good. But no, before I forget again, I wanted to mention what I was talking about before we started. Gun. that they're putting on the new
right.
BOC record, and
Yeah.
you had also done
Right.
with Brain Surgeon. That first time I heard it was that live bootleg from the Soft White Underbelly show, I think on the Mirror Store.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe Colosaurus, I can't remember.
Yeah. That was an old song that Joe wrote with Helen. So true story too. So
Really?
Oh wow. I didn't know.
yeah.
It's amazing. We can call the moon, but we can't have a
also,
Zoom chat. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Also, she wrote a song that the Brain Surgeons did called Jimmy Booth Fetish, which was about the same guy, Jim.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, he was a wild man.
Hey, yeah. Well, it was a good song.
yeah. Two good songs.
Yeah, two great songs. Yeah.
Yeah. Too bad he had to go to jail.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
what were you gonna say, Greg?
I honestly, I'm excited to hear it's, I suppose finished off when this comes out. But I have to say, I always loved the Brain Surgeons version of it. I can't lie, I prefer your vocals, but Deborah did do a really good job on there. Not to bring up a sore spot again, but
yeah. No, she had her sound. I think that, ultimately it didn't work as well for me because she didn't blend well with my voice. When we harmonized, it never worked. Whereas when Susie Lorraine was singing with me on the Imaginos stuff, it's like it's magic. It's like it rings. It has this like quality that great harmony has. She's just a phenomenal harmony singer. So
yeah, there is some live footage.
So
there is some live footage of you both performing together, and the band sounds great, and the vocals sound as good as they ever have. So, yeah, it definitely sounds like you have a solid lineup.
She is because she's back to her old job. She's you can't. I couldn't hear what you just said. Star lineup.
No, I was just saying that it sounds like you have a solid lineup, and the vocals sound as good as they ever have in the past. Like with again, believe it or not, like when I think of BOC, I think of the vocal harmonies. You singing with Joe and with Buck and with like on a song such as ME 262. They sounded great then, and what you're doing with Susan now sounds just as good.
Yeah. She's yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, with BOC, we rarely worked on our harmonies, and that was one of the reasons why we got signed was because, and Eric, even though he's like the lead singer supposedly, but he's a great harmony singer. When he sings a high harmony, it's almost like Graham Nash. It has this like ringing quality to it, because he's very in tune. Also, that's the other thing about Eric. He sang more in tune than anybody. So still does, even though he can't hit the high notes anymore. But actually, he can. But I don't know. He just doesn't want to.
Interesting. I didn't think he could anymore. That's really interesting to know.
Yeah, I heard him, but he, what happens if you're doing a show, every, you're going out on these long tours, and you kind of don't want to give it all like that, not be able to sing the next day or whatever. So I understand. I don't have that problem because I haven't had that many long tours as a lead singer.
At the
We
height
do
of
like 2 or 3 shows, and that's it.
at the height of
Yeah.
BOC's popularity, about how many concerts average a year would you say that you guys did?
Well, we did a lot more of them. We weren't popular. We and for the 4 years before Agents of Fortune, we each year we played about 250 shows. So by the time we got to Agents, we'd logged about 1,000 big concerts, and then we cut back to about 150, something like that. Almost a little bit more than half of that. We built in time. We built in time for vacations and babies and all of that kind of stuff. So it was a much more human kind of schedule. I don't think we could have kept it up. I mean, I think that even now, I think Blue Oyster Cult log, some sort of record number of shows in the lifetime of the group. So, yeah. But so I know, but I've heard him sing, but he'll beg off and say, "Oh no, I can't do it now. I gotta save my voice." I get it. He sings really high. I mean, for the songs that I sang on Reimaginos and all the whole trilogy, a lot of the songs I just lowered the key, just lowered it till I could sing at full voice and feel comfortable. So
No, that definitely worked to your benefit. I mean, like I said, the songs just take on a new life of their own. I enjoyed the recently updated versions of those classic songs as much as I do the classic.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I've always appreciated about the original lineup as musicians, is the fact that and this is not to knock the genre of metal, but to me, BOC was not just like a metal band. I mean, you guys did rock, you did new wave, you did jazz, you did blues, you did country. You were your own sound. And I think that's where, like, all these tastemakers, I don't know where they get the idea to just lump BOC into one genre. It's one sound, and that's just the 5 of you. How important was it for everybody to, I guess, just keep up their musical chops, or not just stay focused or fixated on one genre?
I think that just I mean, we all played different things, and it was, I think the first 3 albums that's one of the things that a lot of people like about them, is that they didn't go too far out of our wheelhouse. I remember when Don brought Reaper in, and it was really, I don't want to take unnecessary credit, but he said, I wrote this song, but I don't think it's right for the group. I just don't think we should do it. And I listened to it. I said, "Are you crazy? This song is a stone cold hit. We've got to do it." He's like, "I don't know. You think it's a hit? It's okay. It's kind of repetitious." I said, "No." And nameless doesn't want me to talk about it, but he said, "No way am I doing this song. If you want to do it, then I'm out. I'm out." I said, "Oh, well, don't be a stranger. We're Sandy doing this song." And he said, "Murray, I've been waiting for you guys to come up with something like this. Come on. This is it. This is going to be a hit. I swear to God, if I ever heard a hit, this is a hit." And of course, and so then all of a sudden, it was like we could do anything. after that, because it was so unlike anything that we did, except that it did have that, a little bit of the horror genre in there, because it had the Reaper,
Right.
I mean, if he said don't fear death or don't fear, the end or whatever, it would have been, it would have been more pop, but he said don't fear the Reaper.
God, and how many movies has that song been in? It's
oh my God.
Halloween Ends, Scream, The Stand.
Gone Girl, Orange is the New Black. It goes on. The list goes on. Every year. It's, yeah.
I think it needs to be said. I think it really needs to be said. The cowbell is not that prevalent in the song. That was a fucking waste.
Yes.
What do you think about that Saturday Night Live skit? By now, it was funny when it first was on, but now
the first time,
and now it's just like I'm tired of people saying it. But how do you feel about that whole skit?
Well, I think that the how they build it up, and how big thing, it's a little bit ridiculous, but I have, even now when I watch this skit, I still find things that I didn't see, and I'm like, oh my God, really? This is it's so funny.
Yeah. It really you lived it too.
Well, the other thing is that it was not unlike what actually happened, I mean, really? I think, how it is in the studio. You try something and nobody knows if it's good, and then you're like, well, what if we did this? What if you do that? So there was a bunch of that. I wouldn't remember. He said, I wanted to play the triangle. That was the thing. I wanted to play the triangle in the middle, and the bow down down ding ding, down 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 ding ding. That's where I wanted it. And he said, okay, you can do that, but you got to play a cowbell in the verses. I'm like, what? Why? And so he talked me into doing it. And this is David Lucas, the other producer.
Not Bruce Dickinson. I mean, it just baffled me, because it's like they got everyone wrong. First of all, they called Chris Parnell, who looked like Buck Dharma, they called him Eric. And then the guy that looked like Eric Bloom, his name was Gene. And Alan Lanyard did not have a mustache back then. He didn't grow a mustache until 1980.
No, that was me.
That was Albert.
That was me. That was the lead guitar player. That was supposed to be me. And the guy that looked like Alan was playing the drums.
They just switcheroo.
Yeah. Jimmy Fallon was, dressed up as Alan. It was ridiculous. But, and Bruce Dickinson was the legacy producer. So what he did is he repackaged the album and put it out, stuck his name on there. But I knew him before, when he was A&R at Chrysalis, because I was trying to get a deal for this group I was producing. So, so he's been around, though, but it is odd that he has the same name as the guy from Iron Maiden.
Yeah, well,
it's part of the appeal of this.
Yeah, but that Bruce Dickinson, I've seen him on 2 albums, Blue Oyster Cult and the Outfield's Legacy recording. That's about it. I haven't seen it anywhere else.
Yeah. I don't think he were. I'm going to do.
Sorry, Albert, what was that?
They're doing a 50th anniversary for SNL.
Oh, really?
And one entire episode is going to be the cowbell. So my segment is going to have Bruce Dickinson, Murray Krugman, and myself talking about it. So,
oh, cool,
very cool.
But they've had Jimmy Fallon talking about what he did, and and of course Will Ferrell and what's his name?
Chris Kattan, Chris Parnell.
Christopher Walken. Yeah.
All right, him.
I'll tell you,
Christopher Walken.
Speaking of the agent sessions and the legacy recording, though, I will say I love Sally, man. That was the highlight to me of that remaster.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that version that I did for that song, the Smith song. And I didn't know why they didn't put it on the record. I don't know. I guess it was just too much. It was abundance of good stuff. But it did come out.
One thing I'd also like to promote is your YouTube channel. You now have sort of become a not a social media influencer, but you've become more of a presence on YouTube. For example, I think you're in your 8th season of your video diary series, Most Cowbell.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. I enjoy that a lot. So it feels like I'm talking to the fans, and you know, it's I know evolved into sort of a advice column. I had these thoughts, about like living life and stuff, and the challenges that you face and how to deal with them. So yeah, and I do like to play a little, guitar. I keep saying I'm going to do a whole episode on Cagey Cretin, the drum part. Well, actually, the whole song. Yeah, wouldn't that be fun?
Oh yeah, and you totally have to call it "Repeating Taste of High Heel Shoe." I love that line.
Good idea.
Yeah, actually,
repeating taste of high heel shoe.
If I had to pick my favorite lyrics from a song you did, though, and I know you and Joe wrote it together, I'm not sure which one, but "Wings Wetted Down," man, that is just beautiful.
Yeah, that's a great song. I didn't really have that much to do with it. I didn't have anything to do with the lyrics. Joe wrote the lyrics all by himself, and all I was responsible was for, I think, the bridge and the end of the chorus where it goes, "In the end, the end, the end."
That's awesome.
So that's all I did. But I put my name on there.
Yeah, but not just
Joe. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to ask. Not just your drumming and your singing and your songwriting, but your arrangements and I would say your quality control of the band's output for that 10-year period. There's very few bands where I could say that their quality control was as good as BOC's, and I think that a big part of the responsibility would fall on you. So I guess when it came to the quality control aspect of the band, what was it that kind of made you take that role, or how important was that role for you?
I didn't consciously think about it, but eventually the other guys would say, "How come every time we have a practice, you come in the next day with ideas to change everything?" And I'd say, "Well, because I this way, I can do it the way you're doing it, but I think it's something is wrong with it, So and the records that after me, and I don't, and I'm not even trying to be cynical about it. To my concept of how to make something sound big or power or whatever you do sound small, just because you want the next thing to come in huge, so you have to have the contrast. And there was a lot of things that they didn't really understand about arranging, and I was the one that kind of pushed that. I definitely did, even on the songs that I did not write, like the whole arrangement for for Eric's song, for almost all of Eric's songs except for Emmy 262. But for veterans, that was my arrangement basically. I wrote the whole thing. I mean, John Trivers wrote the bass line, and Eric sang, Michael Moorcock's lyrics. But all of that drum thing and the middle part and the little break and all of that stuff. So,
Very cool.
or Black Blade, didn't write the song. Eric, what should we do? Eric was really great about, understanding my worth. And really, even when they let me go, he said, I'm going on record and as this is a bad idea. I'll never forget that. He said, but you know what, I got to go with the majority.
Well,
So
it's really good to see that everyone's in each other's good graces and collaborating again, and you're still coming out with great quality output. And honestly, like speaking for the three of us as huge fans of yours, as a member of the band and as a musician and as a person in general, we're so happy that you're still around. And we're beyond grateful that you gave three lucky schmucks like us a chance to have a conversation with you, albeit with spectrum difficulties, but we are honored to have you on the show tonight. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. It's a privilege, really. I appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Albert. This is my favorite one we've ever done. I mean, personal hero, man. I'm so honored you came on tonight.
Oh, well, I'm happy to do it. Yeah. There's
Very
no
cool.
downside for me. Okay.
Is there throughout your whole career of Blue Oyster Cult and everything you're doing now, is there one thing that's like the biggest thing that you've done, or something that was the most favorite thing that you've done over the years?
Well, I think things are getting better. I mean, I wrote a song for the Dictators that I'm like, holy crap, this might be the best song. I mean, it wasn't my song. It was Keith Roth. He wrote it, but he'd sent all these, when we were trying to find songs for this record, because Andy usually is the songwriter, but he's very slow. I don't know if he's probably slowed down over the years, and he's getting very picky about his songs. So I like to write fast and then rewrite. But anyway, so Keith had sent out a whole bunch of songs to the guys, and Andy picked one, and he said, we're going to do this one, and Andy helped him arrange it and write it. I actually ended up having to step in because it wasn't popping, so I made it pop. One day I think I smoked some pot, and I was like, oh, this is what I should do. Total Keith Moon. and I played this crazy drum part, and then and they're like, oh, that's kind of, can you dial it back a little bit? So I did. I dialed it back, and then for some reason they came over, and I put up, because I saved everything. There's a file. So I said, can go back over the different iterations. So I had the wrong one up, and they heard the drum thing, and they're like, whoa, that's great. Of course it was here in my studio with the good monitors and everything. You got to do it like that. I said, I did it like that. It's right there. But I did this song with Keith that nobody was interested in, and I heard something in the song. I said, this is one little bit. It's a stone cold hook, man. It's here, and so I turned the arrangement totally inside out. Took that little bit a chorus or anything. I made it the chorus. I made it the title. It is because it'll be out in the end of May or the middle of May. So it's not finished, but yeah. So and you'll see. I'm like, man, this is really catchy. And so then I just made an arrangement where I thought this is what the Dictators need, and we just played a tour with the Damned, and I have to say I respect those guys so much. They just keep going, and they get better. Each record is like a little bit better than the one before. Right. You know, even though they're older, they just are honing in on their thing, and I loved how they did the wordless vocals. And when we were in Spain with the Dictators, a savage beat, a savage beat, every time you get to the whole audience was singing along. And I said, oh, Dictators, they're fans, they love to sing along. We need more sing along on this record, you know. That's what's missing. So I made a song part like that, a wordless vocal. And dang, it's really good. It's really a great thing. So I'm very happy about that. I really can't wait to hear it. And
very cool, very cool. Well, like Luke said, we all appreciate that you're still, you know, continuing to do music and everything. And I just wish you had a better internet connection. God damn.
Look, you're always welcome back again at a later date,
yes.
Albert. Anytime you want to promote anything,
I'll take it into the studio. I'll take this computer into the studio. It's much better. I have what do you call it? Cat 5 there. So.
Oh, okay. All right.
So this is just wireless. That's the problem. Right. And this, like I say, I'm in a mansion, so it's about 150 feet to the studio. So,
all right. So next time you go into the studio,
get yourself.
Yeah, definitely. We'd love to have you back anytime you have a tour or a new album that you want to promote or a new project. Consider this an open invitation.
Great. Well, it's been fun being on Rat Salad.
Oh wow, you remembered the name. Thank you.
Yeah.
One of the few guests that do.
Review. What's the significance of that?
It's a Black Sabbath song.
Drum solo, Bill Ward. Love it.
Yeah, Wayne went through a couple of names at first, and then that was the one that stuck, I guess.
Yeah. I didn't make it up, but somebody else did. But
yeah.
But and Lou and I actually do kind of a side one about or called Screams from the Grave about more obscure forgotten albums, and Mirrors was actually one I wanted to do if you were ever interested in talking about that. Too.
That would be great. Yeah, we'll have him come back on for an episode of Screams. Absolutely. Albert, we'll definitely work that around your schedule.
Okay. Sounds great.
Sounds good. And if anybody wants to go see your social medias or your websites or anything, where can they go if you even know where they are? Do you know?
Well, I'm on Facebook. I have a friend page and a fan page, but the friend page has got about, I think you can only have like 5,000. So I got like 4,090. So somebody will have to drop out. Maybe I'll post some more rants about Trump and see what happens. I can make some space.
Oh yeah, and before we go, your support for safe stages and all that when all that was happening, that was really cool. That was an awesome accomplishment there.
Yeah. Well, I got a thing I'm doing for it's a benefit for the Long Island Music and Entertainment Hall of Fame. June 7th at CW Post College at the Tyler Center, and it's going to have the Young Rascals, Zebra, Billy Joel, his daughter, Sarah Joel, I think it is, or something, and
Alexa Ray Joel,
Debbie Gibson,
Jeez.
And Joe and I are going to be playing with Jules Rodino and Danny Miranda,
Oh, cool.
doing some. Yeah, he does Billy Joel.
If you need a third guitar player, let me know. I'd love to jam on that. That'd be great.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. So
Very cool. And
very
yeah,
cool.
so yes, he's on YouTube, he's on Instagram, he's on Facebook. Just look up Albert Bouchard,
Yep.
and remember, buy his stuff over at albertbouchard.bandcamp.com.
oh, and also in YouTube is tons of videos, music videos of all the things, from Blue Coup to Dictators to my solo stuff.
Very cool. I just hit
Stuff is-
subscribe to your YouTube channel, and I sent you a friend request again. So hit the accept button.
Will do.
All right.
Will do.
Albert, thank you so much for
Okay.
coming on tonight.
Yeah, thank you so much. And
Thank
like
you,
I said,
Albert.
next time we got a better internet connection, and we will talk more. All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Very much.
You're
Sounds
awesome,
Now
man.
that we
Thanks a
see you
lot.
before we leave.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Have a good night,
See ya.
everybody. Thank you for watching RatSoundReview.com, and we'll be back next week.
SeveredAngel.com.
SeveredAngel.com.
Absalon, new album. Get him.
Get them while they're hot. Bye, everybody.
Great.
Hotty Totty. Good night.
Oh, we're actually already friends on Facebook. Cool.